Hi. How's it going, everybody? My goodness, there's so much going on right now. Luna is going crazy all of a sudden, wanting to play with her ball. My sister is putting her kids to bed in the room next door. So if you hear crying babies, there's a lot of happening right now. Oh my gosh, I see friends. I see Amy Patton. Wow, love you so much. But anyways, guys, I'm excited because I'm going to do a chat today with the one, the only Rachel Platten. And this is actually the first one of these that I've ever done where it's just like a, kind of like a, I don't know, an interview / chat. And I just reached out to Rachel because I think she is one of the most inspiring and most honest and real human artists that I know. So anyways, I am going to see if she's here and I'm going to add her. She's here. Okay, so I'm going to add Rachel in. Sorry, it's connecting. It's taking a moment. Oh, yes. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Lynn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm okay. I'm sorry I was a little late. Violet was my baby. My daughter was, she's having a hard day today. But I'm okay.
No. I'm sorry. That's really rough. Because, like, you're like, I can only do everything in my power. I can't control.
It's so true. It's such a good lesson in control of just like, well, okay, I can make sure I'm good and I can be the best mom and do everything I can that I know that I can to help her be okay. And then I have to accept that she's going to have days. She's 1 year old and she's sensing the energy around her is crazy right now. So.
Right. No, it's funny. Right before you jumped on, I was saying, like, you guys might hear crying babies here because I'm staying with my sister and she's got twins.
Oh!
Yeah. So I feel like in the last few days, I've learned so much just by watching my sister parent. And it's like, I don't know, I've always had so much respect for my mom and for moms, but watching my sister in action, I just am in awe of you moms. And like the patience and like you said, the like having to like surrender control and just learn to accept. And
so much of that is like just, yeah. Lindsay, you're gonna make such a good mom if you want. I know you're a dog
someday
mom. Dog mom.
Be a mom.
Yeah, dog moms
actually,
count though.
Do what?
Dog moms count.
Oh, dog moms count. Hold on, I got her. I got it. There she is.
I love your doggy.
So, okay, first of all, I kind of just gave a little rant about how much I love you before I pulled you in, but just so my fans know, I've known Rachel now for like, probably like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We met at one of her shows, and I just have to tell you, Rachel like ran up to me when she saw me. I was so excited that I got invited, and I was like, watched her perform. She killed it. And then after the show, I was like really excited to meet her, and she ran up and gave me the biggest hug as if I was like a best friend. And that's like the kind of person Rachel is. She just immediately was like, you're my friend, come into my fold, and like you're family to me. So like from the moment I met Rachel, I was like, wow, she's so special. So anyways, I love you.
I felt the same way about you too. I think there was a mutual like warmth and seeing each other and like really seeing, you know, who the hearts in each other. And then we kind of immediately were like, oh, we both do charity and we both love playing for people. So I'm sure we'll talk about that stuff, but it was mutual.
I do want to talk about that later. But first I want to just like have you kind of describe to people your story, because I remember when I first heard of you, it was like this moment where you exploded overnight with like the biggest song of like the decade. And you know, I remember hearing Fight Song and being like, who is this girl? And like she just came out of nowhere. But the fact is that no one comes out of nowhere. Like, and I loved once I heard you share a little bit more about your story and the hard work it took to get to have that moment. So I just want you to kind of describe like, where were you at before Fight Song? What did it take to get it there?
Thanks, Linz. Thank you for saying that. I don't know about the decade, man. That's very kind. But
one of the biggest songs, yeah, for sure.
Where was I before Fight Song? I was playing for about 15 years in small clubs, living rooms often. I was doing house concerts. I was driving around in a van and doing it really grassroots, you know, like totally indie. And kind of the old-fashioned way, like driving around the country, opening up the back of my van, and I sold CDs out of a suitcase. And did you ask my mindset?
Yeah, sure. What is it that kind of, I think one of the cool things about that is just to hear that it was 15 years, you know, it was 15 years of like really hard work and not giving up. And then, and yeah,
Yes.
what was your mindset at that time?
I'm sorry, I had heard my baby cry. That's why I paused for a second. I'm gonna try to stay. I was like, oh God.
Hey, if you need to run and get the baby,
No, she'll be cool.
I'll entertain, and then you can come back. Okay.
Oh yeah. I was living in the city, and I was really, I was just kind of had this belief in myself that would waver, but like ultimately it was always kind of crazily still there, even though I just kept getting rejected over and over again. Like, and I would play small clubs, and I would play like 5, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, and it was slowly building. And then I played for so many labels who rejected me. So if there's any artists watching this, like, yes, we get rejected all the time. And I think part of the thing that maybe was, I guess, special about my story is that even though there was so much rejection, I would find this inner strength to keep going and reignite the belief in myself. And I actually have started to turn to some of those practices again because of the place that we're in right now. I was literally just remembering this morning, because I've been having, I'm sure you guys all have, I've been having a really hard time the past couple weeks. And my hard time is just being bored at home. So that's, and having a 1-year-old. But you know, some people's hard time right now is not even comparable to that. So I can't imagine what everyone here is going through, but I know my personal experiences, it's been really hard. So I've been turning to some of that stuff and remembering some of these tools that I used to use to like reignite my fire and my belief in myself. And I can talk about those. Maybe you and I can share both of the things that we personally do to keep ourselves inspired. But Fight Song was born out of this moment of really, oh my God, I was about to like give up on the career because I was like 31 at the time, which is really old for a pop star. And everyone who had kind of worked with me was a little bit like bored, not returning my calls. And my publisher, who was incredible and is still my publisher to this day, Amanda Berman, told me on my way to a session, Rachel, stop trying to write a hit song. Tell your story. Mm-hmm. And I went into the session. It was just me and this guy, Dave Bassett. And I just got there and I sobbed, and I had known him before, so it was okay. I'm sure, have you had those sessions, Linz, where you go in and you just start crying?
Yep.
Yep. What you guys don't know is how awkwardly, they tell them a little, like sometimes these sessions are really awkward. You have to go in and like be so honest and vulnerable.
Well, and sometimes it's with people you just met. Like sometimes it's your guys that you've worked with over and over again. Other times you find yourself crying to someone that's like, you've just walked in the room with, and you're trying to like share something really personal, and you're like, I'm sorry. This turned into a therapy session right now. But
well, otherwise, how do you get a good song, right?
No, it's true. Like honestly, songwriting duos are like therapy sessions for sure. They're like therapist songwriters. So, all right.
Okay. So Fight Song came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, the chorus just kind of downloaded into my head, and I started playing it like a crazy person, and it kind of came out all at once. The rest of the song then took 2 years to write. It was a crazy story. I had to actually learn to produce on my own, because all the producers that I was working with, no one really was interested or heard the song, or no one really cared. I didn't have money. I didn't have a label. So I had to take the power into my own hands. And after 15 years of, failing and trying, I then had to even go as far as to learn to produce the song so that I could get the drum sounds I wanted. I rewrote the verses about 15 times, 20 times. I rewrote the pre-choruses over and over. I mean, it was...
I didn't know that did you produce the production that is on the song now?
Not the one you heard, but it's not that far off. I mean...
But you got it there so that people believed in it.
Yeah. I had like 6 kicks in a row. Like it was not anything a drummer could play. I didn't know anything. But I sent it to John Levine, the producer, and he was like, yeah, I hear this. And finally, it took me birthing it that much. So then finally, after all that time, I had written the song that was the fire that ignited. But the craziest thing is, even when I had Fight Song fully finished, as you hear it today, I sent it around to a couple of people, and still, Lindsay, no one was interested.
Isn't that crazy?
This is the funniest lesson. Like, it doesn't matter, you guys, if you have something that you believe in, no one knows. Don't let someone's opinion of something determine, like, don't ever let someone's opinion of something, if you know it's truly good in your heart, don't let that make you give up on yourself. So it took me another year after that and some circumstances to finally get it on the radio. A guy, his sister had breast cancer, and she heard the song from a friend. It was kind of spreading from person to person really slowly, and she said, you have to put this on the radio. Like, this song has been getting me through my treatment. So we put it on the radio one day in Baltimore, and it Shazammed to #1 from that. And then all the labels that had rejected me over the 15 years called within 48 hours. And I was in a van in Ohio, like, talking to my manager, like, I can't leave. I'm about to play a house show. He's like, Rachel, you have no idea what's going on. And within 24 hours, I was at, like, Snoop's post-Grammy party, signed to a major label, and, like, at the Radio Disney Awards a couple weeks later, and on stage with Taylor after that. And it was, like, yeah, like you said, a whirlwind.
Oh, yes. I think that's the first time I saw you, was at the Radio Disney Awards.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I remember,
That's
like,
when I
seeing
saw
you
you.
on the red carpet, and you had crutches. Didn't you?
That was like the Teen
Oh.
Choice Awards a couple months later.
Dang it.
No, but that I did have crutches. That was embarrassing.
No, but okay, so stepping back though, I love that message, and I think that, you know, the thing is I love that your story is so unique in the way it happened and all the details. First of all, I didn't even know all of these, so I'm, like, so glad I asked you to retell the story.
Is it too many details? I can't tell. I'm sorry, you guys, if it's
No,
too much.
that's the goal of it, is to
Okay.
hear how much energy you put into something you believed in, no matter how many times someone told you no. And I think that's the thing that makes your story so unique to you, but also so like everybody's story. You know, the details are so unique to you, but it's like, I was like, yeah, this is my story too. In a
Wait,
way.
Lindsay, can I know your story? I know these are your fans, but I'm curious. I know, but I feel like we all might want to hear.
Well, okay, I'll do a short version of my story because I want to talk more about you. But my story is, I came up with this idea that I wanted to dance and play the violin at the same time, and I wanted to do it to, like, electronic music. And the best part about this is that I was not a dancer. I'd never learned how to dance before, and I was 23. So super.
A dancer?
I was not a dancer, like, legit bad. Like, I tried out for my dance teams in high school, but I never had any training, so I never made it, you know, like, always got the first cut. But I loved dance, and so I was like, I'm going to be a dancing violinist, which like I said, is just hilarious because, similar to your story, I had this innate belief that I could do it. And no matter what anyone else said, no matter if they thought it looked dumb or if they thought it was impossible, like I was too old to learn to dance, like all these things, I just was like, no, I can see this and I know it's going to happen. Fast forward, I went on to America's Got Talent, and this is after I'd been doing, like, a lot of open mic nights and trying to get out there, and I finally thought I had my break. So I made it onto America's Got Talent, made it all the way to the quarterfinals, and then I was told that I got X'd, first of all. And, you know, in front of 11 million people, I was told that I just didn't have what it took, and I sounded like rats being strangled, like,
Stop it.
And so I had that moment of, like, do I give up? That was absolutely humiliating. I don't think I could ever get on stage again. But again, that little, like, belief inside was like, you're not done yet. Like,
Yes.
You're not. Don't believe them. Don't believe what they say, because
Don't believe them.
Saying, like,
Yes.
Sometimes people just cannot see what is right in front of them. And in my case, I had to work a lot harder. I really wasn't ready yet. Like, I needed to become a much better dancer and a much better, like, you know, much more skilled at doing the things together. So it wasn't that I wasn't good enough. I just wasn't good enough yet. And, you know, and so then grassroots labels said no, 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 until finally, like, you have your moment. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, you know, when you finally had, like, for me, it was crystallized. But it's just funny how similar our stories are. But like I said, I just am blown away by the fact that you learned to produce and that you believed so much in one song that you worked on it for 2 years. And so just to everybody, like, next time, like Rachel said, next time you're feeling discouraged about your craft, or like you've put in a bunch of time and it's not working, just remember her story, and that song was 3 years in the making. And like I said, literally one of the biggest songs of the decade that, like, empowers people time and time again, and is like, it's a song of courage that people rely on. I don't know. It's such a magical moment that you created for the world, but it took 3 years to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I loved hearing what you said, Linz. I think what you said is a really important piece too. It's that inner belief in yourself. I was actually trying to write a song about that earlier. I guess it's a theme for me, but just about, like, you know, what happens when you get, a little taste of success is that then you kind of start like thinking that you need other people's approval, and because you get all of a sudden so much of it, and it's a little bit like a drug. We should write this song together. I was writing. It's a little bit like a drug, and it's like you can't really get enough of it, and then you kind of get tricked into thinking like, oh, I'm not enough unless other people are approving of me. And so I've recently had to relearn a lot of those lessons of just like, no, like I am me as I am right here in this body. It's not because of what I've done or the songs I've made. Just by being me means I'm enough. Just by you guys being you, just by you existing, you are enough. Just by breathing beautiful air, and you're enough. And it's a dangerous spiral when you start thinking it needs to come out from external. Who knows what I'm talking about? I have baby brain.
No, you made so much sense right there. And it's funny because something I've actually thought a lot about in the last probably year, where, like you said, it's like once I had to rely solely on this inner belief and this inner light and this inner courage, it was like no matter what anyone else said, I just believed. And it's almost like a muscle that I haven't had to work as hard because I've just gotten very mentally lazy because I get used to getting external validation. And so when that's gone, it's amazing how instantly flat you can feel when you're not kind of being pumped full there, because it's like that inner muscle has gotten weak.
Dang,
so
girl.
I love what you just said. That's amazing.
We got to strengthen our inner muscles.
So wait, okay. I feel like I would like describe you as like this vibrant, like magical fairy where everywhere you go, you just like exude light. And I have to tell everybody a story. One time Rachel calls me up and was like, Lindsay, do you want to go to the hospital with me to play music and like, for the kids? And I'm like, yes. And so anyways, we go to the hospital. First of all, before we walk up, this taught me so much about why Rachel is the way she is, because sometimes I feel like we look at other people like you and you just think that, oh, she's just naturally magical. But before we walk up, Rachel like grabs my hand and my keyboard player's hand, and she's like, let's set an intention. And you asked to be filled with light, and you asked to bring people joy and be like a vessel of joy. And then we walk up there, and it was amazing how I watched Rachel. She was walking ahead of me, and she was like this little vessel of light, and everywhere she walked, people smiled. But it's because we took the time together.
We took the time.
We
asked.
Yeah, so I want you to talk more about that.
Okay. Well, sometimes I get a little shy to share this kind of stuff because,
this is powerful stuff.
Okay, it is powerful stuff. I'm married to someone that is not in this end of the spectrum. So if anyone's watching, like, what on earth is she about to talk about? Like, I get it. And my family is very much like that. They think I'm a weirdo. So understood. You're safe here. But I really believe in the power of energy, setting intentions. And I mean, I could go on and on about this topic. I've done so much inner work and so much spiritual work, and I have such a deep spiritual practice. And now to the point where I'm constantly checking in. I think the maybe way that will relate to the most people is, what is the intention behind this? You can call it God or your angels or guides of the universe. Is that source with me right now? Am I actively calling it in? Or am I relying only on my strength and little Rachel ego? If I'm doing that, pretty much I'm not going to I might reach people, but not at the level that I could if I call in something higher and ask to step aside and ask that force to work through me. And I started doing it on my tour this summer. I did it always in hospitals when I'd sing in hospitals, because that was so clear to me, like, this is a place where I am really going to be able to deliver healing. So I really better actively channel that energy before I go into these hospital rooms. What a precious, vulnerable thing. People are letting me into their hospital room. Right. Then I started realizing, like, I don't need to just do that before a concert. I need to do that all the time. And right now, actually, that's been getting me through the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Because I remembered every moment needs to be checking in. I can't afford mentally to go through the day without checking in. Am I aligned with my highest self? Am I aligned with the good in the universe? Am I actively being a vessel for that light right now? Or am I letting the noise and the scariness and the fear come through me and overwhelm me? So yeah, I hope I didn't go off on too much of a tangent.
I'm curious, what is your way of checking in? Is it just like kind of, do you meditate, or do you just kind of start your day with a prayer, or like what does it look like for you?
I have actually had totally honestly, I've had a hard time lately kind of figuring out my one way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not, like, I'm Jewish, I was raised Jewish, but I I feel more culturally Jewish and not really like relating so much to the religion part of it. But or I don't find like the spirituality in it. I love, anyway. I don't know that I have had like one thing to go to, so I've always kind of made it up. But recently I've turned back to this book called A Course in Miracles. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
It's I don't know if you've heard of it, you've heard of it, but it's a heavy text, and it's not like a light read. It's more of a, anyway, it's more of like a mindset. Anyway, in it, that's what I've been turning to lately, and there are these lessons in the workbook that you kind of check in. But an easy, quick way that I do it is through a simple hand on heart, and this technique called RAIN. It's an acronym, and it's recognize, allow, investigate, nurture. And the recognize is, I do this all day long. The recognize is, how am I feeling? What is actually going on right now? Let me take stock. Oh, okay, I'm scared. I'm feeling fear. I was just being bitchy to Kevin, my husband. I was like being anxious about something. I was micromanaging Violet. No, it's actually fear. I'm afraid right now. So just the recognizing is really important, because it allows it to be seen, and all of a sudden it's out of the shadow and out of the dark, and it's like, you know what I mean? We can heal the thing that we can see. So I just name it, and then I allow it to be there. I don't resist it. I just say, yeah, I am afraid. This is a hard moment. Like whatever I'm going through, where we are right now, we could do this all day long. This is a hard moment. I don't have to have an answer for it. I don't have to push it away. I can just say, this is hard. The investigate is, where is it manifesting in my body? Oh, my shoulders are really tense. My jaw is clenched. My back is, oh, I'm breathing not deeply. Nurture is, what do I need? What is my little body? What does Rachel need right now? And the nurture is a soft word, a calm breath. If I don't have, if I'm like in the middle of a hot, heated discussion, maybe it's just a quiet breath to myself. So that's kind of my spiritual practice. It's more of an ongoing all day thing, rather than like one ritualized thing that I do.
Just checking in. And I think it's really interesting, because like I said, I've been with my sister and I'm watching the way she like parents her kids. And one of the things I've been most fascinated with is, she, like, as you're describing this, I'm like, that's what Brooke does with her kids. And it makes so much sense in a child, when the child is upset and they can't really talk yet or fully express themselves, but she recognizes that they're upset, and she'll name whatever emotion it is. I can tell you're sad, or I can tell you're angry. And then, but she kind of walks through those exact same steps, and it's amazing to watch them calm down, where I'm like, I never would have thought of that. I probably would have been like, what's wrong? You know, like, stop. It's not a big deal.
You know what, Lindsay? I bet that you innately would know to do this, because you're such a kind and empathetic person. I bet that you would.
I mean, I feel like I've learned so much from watching her, but I'm like, it makes sense seeing it done to a child, but I'm like, of course we need that same exact thing for ourselves.
Oh yeah, I mean, because what we're feeling with is actually our inner child. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, it is how you should talk to a child, because it is your child, the one that's causing all the fear, the one that's afraid, that's usually driving the bus, and you're like, whoa, how did that kid get the wheel? Okay, the adult needs to step back in. Okay, little Rachel, I know you're afraid, Mama's here. Okay, but what do you do? What's your practice? I'm curious about.
What do I do? You know what? Spirituality is like a big thing for me. And so sometimes it's just turning to, well, first of all, I've learned to not judge my emotions and accept that, like, that they're here, and that's okay. It doesn't like that they don't equal who I am. And I think being able to mentally take myself through that process, that just because I'm feeling depressed today doesn't mean I am depression. You know, just because I'm, you know, overwhelmed doesn't mean that's like my innate characteristic. They're passing. Like, my worth is eternal, and those things are just passing. So I think by like just like kind of mentally walking myself through that thing when I'm overwhelmed, but I also think just turning kind of to like prayer for me. My mind wanders all over the place, so it's a form of meditation. It gets me to focus in. It gets me to like stillness, so that I can like calm things if I pray, or if I turn to like a higher power. So that's one of my things. But I want to ask,
what's a prayer that you, I know you want to ask me questions, but I want to ask you questions. What's the actual words of the prayer? Like, I feel like I'm always hungry for more, and I bet your fans want to know too. Is there like one specific one that you use?
No, it's just a conversation. Just a conversation to like a higher, like my Heavenly Father is how I usually start it. Like, my Heavenly Father, and I just talk through how I'm feeling sometimes
Yes.
or what I'm scared about. And I just make it a conversation. I always make sure to add gratitude in there,
Oh,
no
yeah,
matter what I'm praying for. And then sometimes it's less of a prayer, and it's just like a conversation to my guardians, my angels. Because
Me too. I talk to my angels all the time.
I always talk to my angels.
I didn't know if people would think that was too weird. Okay, fine. We both talk for it.
I ask them for help and comfort and guidance all the time. Probably more than I pray. I talk to my angels because I'm like, they're on the front lines right here.
Me too. Oh, look, my friend Ryan is here and just said something beautiful. Okay,
what do you say?
Let's read this out loud for anyone who is actually curious about a thing that they could say for themselves. Dear universe, I welcome you into my mind to see this situation through my eyes and heal my thinking from fear to love. Thank you.
Oh, I love that.
Ryan. That's so. I was saying this morning, I was feeling such panic, and I really did this prayer, this little mini one. I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to see this differently. Asking my guides and angels to help. Yeah, so they could.
Yes.
I could see through their eyes. But that's good, Ryan.
Yes. Thank you, Ryan. So I know you have to like put Vi to bed soon. So I just wanted, but if you have time for just one other quick discussion.
Like 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Let me listen to see what's going on downstairs. Hold on one second.
Okay. I love it. The situation next door sounds like our girls are asleep here. Okay, she's good. All right. Well, with our last 5 minutes, I would love for you to talk about mental health, because one thing, first of all, everybody, if you're not following Rachel on social media, to kind of think about what I wanted to talk through today, I went through your social media and your posts are full of so much gold. I was like, I love that. I loved one of your posts where you said you're learning to stop striving and to just be and be comfortable in that. I loved another post where you talked about not always having to be on. You had so many golden posts, and I just feel like in this last year, you've become a mom. You went through some mental health, postpartum issues and all kinds of things like that are so common. And so I just want to kind of talk in your last little bit here, can you talk to some of these words of wisdom that I pulled from you and your thoughts on it?
Oh my God, yes, you're so cute. But first of all, you guys, how amazing is Lindsey as an interviewer?
I prepared.
She's so good, right? She's so amazing.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Give her some hearts. Yeah, I struggled a lot with my mental health this year. I had Violet last year, and at first it was amazing. I wasn't feeling any symptoms postpartum, and then I went on tour, and we lived on a tour bus for 4 months, and I started having panic attacks every night, and I didn't know what they were. I was really confused about what I was feeling, and finally my beautiful friend Gabby Bernstein told me, Rachel, I think that you're having postpartum. And she was also struggling with it. And so she and I kind of walked through together, and she was like, no, you really need a therapist. You need to not just be doing your spiritual practice. You need to this is a mental health thing. This is if you had a hurt elbow, you wouldn't rub words into it. You would get a brace. So you need extra support. So yeah, I got a psychologist who's incredible. And I was really open and vulnerable about all of it on stage. I would talk about it on stage every night.
Good for you.
I just didn't know how to do it any other way. I was if I have to hide anything right now, I don't think I can be okay on stage. But if I can be honest and be real and use this as a platform to shed light on something that's really had a lot of shame behind it. Moms and women, we don't understand the world. We don't understand that it's so common. 1 in 3 women suffer from it. And
which is huge, which is so huge.
I mean, depression in general is so common. And how can we not? Look at the world right now. Obviously, it's hurting some of our choices. But anyway, so I eventually started acupuncture therapy and journaling, meditation. I had to take it so seriously. I had to take my healing more seriously than anything. But some of the things that I was sharing were extremely vulnerable because I'm an open book anyway. Lindsey and I are both. We're just here I am. But that was the way that I could get through it. That was the way that I could deal with social media, a platform that was really driving me crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I really don't like it on here a lot. And I find that I'll be scrolling and just feeling really bad about myself after a while, not even realizing why, until I'm like, okay, I was just looking at some girl's ass for like, that's why. Or I was looking at some beautiful life or anyway, but
we've all found ourselves staring at somebody else's, butt or something.
Being like, God, my butt, I don't know. But yeah, I think the one about striving, maybe you can speak to this too. Like, I found myself after reaching like this height that I had wanted for so long, and always climbing and always, working to get there. You guys heard the story about Fight Song. I was just always on the mountain. I never even let myself arrive. It happened, and I never even let it land. I never even felt good about it. Like, I didn't even enjoy it. And I was just so nervous all the time that I'd mess up a TV thing I had or an award show, because it was all so new. I didn't know how to sing on TV. I didn't know how to dance. I play piano. And I was always just so nervous that I was not ever landing in the moment or being present. So when I finally had my baby, had the postpartum, and got all that help, what I realized, the biggest thing I realized was, it's been 15 years. I don't know when I've let myself be still and just arrive and be enough where I'm at, where I am. So
I love that. And, after you've done this, like, go, 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 climb, 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 like, there becomes this connection between your value and achieving, and your value and being busy. Even busy will even suffice for value, even if it's not productive. Like,
dude.
And it is really interesting that I've always just thought I really have a hard time being still, and like, I like to be busy. But you know what? Now that the whole world has kind of come to a standstill and I'm being still, but everybody else is pretty still too, I realized I'm actually okay. And I was like, shoot, it was comparison. It was judgment that I should be moving faster. It's like, actually, I kind of like goosebumps.
Oh my God.
I kind of like watching TV. I
Me
kind of
too.
like sitting around with my sister and doing nothing and eating snacks. Like, wow, the problem isn't being still. The problem is judgment that I have for myself.
Woo! Lindsey Stirling, everybody.
One of the positives that has come out of this experience. And I think that there's that fine, and maybe you can speak to this. I don't know how to find the balance between like, go, work hard and achieve, and give yourself permission to be still. But I think that's kind of one of the biggest pursuits is learning balance. Balance will help with mental health. It'll help us, because once upon a time, my full-time job, or it was like a very heavy part-time job, became mental health, and I think, very similar, like you were saying, like anyone who's struggling with mental health, there's only so much you can do by yourself, and there is so much value in finding a therapist. And there's no shame in that. I still go to therapy, and I love my therapist, and I
talk about it all the time.
And I think that for some reason there's a lot of like resistance, and some people may not even call it shame, just like a little bit of
resistance. Like, I don't want to. That's not for me.
I don't need it.
Do that. We don't do that.
I'm fine. We don't do that. And so there's so much power that can come with taking your mental health seriously, and for a short time turning it into a part-time job. Like, it literally was. It filled a lot of my time for a long, and now, like you said, I kind of go back to some of those practices on a regular basis when I'm struggling.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about when you take it so seriously, is that then you have the toolbox. Then it's like, oh, I'm noticing old patterns. I'm noticing the anxiety. Okay, I have all these things I can turn to that I used to, do full time. You're right, me too. In the fall, I stopped everything and I just concentrated on getting better. I got off the road and I was a mess, and I was like, I need to put this first before anything. So you're right.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like you took like a long break from social media, right?
I did. I took like 2 months off, and I lost like 30,000 or 40,000 followers, and I was like, oh well. But I don't fucking care. Who fucking cares? Do you guys care? It does not matter. It is more important. Your mental health is more important. I did not give a crap about that. Apparently, I gave a little crap about it because I mentioned it, but I was tiny. Wait, but guys, by the way, I have to. I have to go in a second, but do you guys feel that what Lindsey was saying about the judgment? That landed for me so much about like, the problem isn't that we don't know how to be still. The problem is what we think it means about us. What do we attach, the meaning we attach to being still, to not being productive. This is a very difficult time but a very beautiful time to face all those inner demons and realize what is behind all the doing. Why do we need to keep moving like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
I want to talk to you for hours. Should we do this again?
Let's do it again.
Can I
Or we'll
interview
just
you?
call each other and chat. Oh, yeah, you can interview me. I feel like you practically did. You had your own good questions. But anyways,
can I tell everybody I'm gonna be reading my children's book tomorrow.
oh, what
if
time?
you guys at one I think I said 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
Okay.
1 o'clock Pacific.
1 o'clock.
4
Okay,
o'clock
1 o'clock
Eastern.
Pacific.
Yeah,
Sounds
I have
good.
a
I'll be
children's book
there.
coming out.
Also, love you so much, and you guys seriously, you should follow Rachel because I love her posts. They're always just real, honest, and you know, if you're a safe person for me to follow, where I don't feel
Triggered. Me too.
like I only follow people that are safe for me.
Me
be
too.
honest.
Me too.
You're one of my safe follows. So, anyways, love you so much.
I love you,
Bye,
Lindsay. You're
guys.
incredible. Thank you for this honor. What an honor. Thank you.
Oh, so fun.
You're amazing. Next time we should sing music, though, because I think people are a little
Yes.
annoyed with us that we didn't sing any songs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bye, baby.
Okay.
Bye, all of you. Mwah.